Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
Are you ready to reach for the stars? Tune in to The Lost Wanderer, the #1 monthly podcast on good pods in astronomy. Join our host, Jeff, as he takes you on an interstellar adventure to explore the mysteries of space and the wonders of science. From rocket launches and distant galaxies to the latest discoveries in astronomy, each episode is a thrilling ride through the cosmos. Don't just gaze at the stars, come explore the universe with us. Follow The Lost Wanderer wherever you get your podcasts, and let's discover the stars together.
My dad was really, really special, and I loved my dad a lot.
I'm proud of him, and that even though he isn't here with us, but he died as a true hero.
I miss everything about him.
In the moment that the officers and I had to come see the children, my biggest reaction was, I don't have 7 arms. I have 7 children who just lost their father, and I don't have 7 arms to wrap around them.
I'm Frank Silla, chairman of the Stephen Silla Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Our foundation is committed to delivering mortgage-free homes for Gold Star families and fallen first responder families.
To not have to worry financially is a huge peace of mind. The thought of, what in the world will I possibly do to pay the bills? How will I possibly let the children have a life that feels normal? I don't want them to have to quit their piano lessons or their basketball. I don't want them to feel that we have to move into a little apartment and struggle financially in addition to the emotional weight.
There are over 1,000 families that need our help. Tunnel to Towers is honoring those heroes that risked their lives by providing them with mortgage-free homes.
Those who serve us and then lay down their lives protecting our freedoms and our safety, the least we can do is $11 a month to give them that peace of always knowing there's a home, there's that sanctuary when life feels like it's been tipped upside down, because it has, when you lose a parent in the line of duty, to know you can go home, you can be safe, there's no risk of losing your home. That's a peace of mind that I can't believe you can get for $11 a month.
I'd like to ask you to contribute $11 a month to support their efforts.
Please donate $11 a month by calling 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our government was established to secure these rights and for the good that comes from exercising them well. This is why the founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding. Because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire. Hillsdale College, pursuing truth and defending liberty since 1844.
Ready to learn some medieval combat, kiddo?
You bet, Dad.
Let's do this.
You know, spending quality time with your kids is important, but finding a fun and safe way to do it can really be a challenge. That's where halberds come in. Halberds are the perfect way to bond with your kid while teaching them about history and physical fitness. Plus, they're a blast to play with. So next time you're looking for some family fun activity, grab a halberd and get ready to make some memories.
Come on, Dad. Round 2.
Halberds, bringing families together one medieval battle at a time. This commercial brought to you by the KLRNradio.com Ad Council.
Green man in the desert night, Bigfoot roaming out of sight. Government shadows, secrets deep, conspiracies unfold while we sleep. Strange encounters unexplained, truth is out that really chain. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling history, stories untold. Area 51, a whispered name. UFO sightings, a haunting flame. Loch Ness monster, a watery myth. Cryptozoology, a curious gift. Strange encounters unexplained. Truth is out there, bravely chained. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling mystery, stories untold. Skeptics doubt, believers yearn for answers hidden yet to learn. In the twilight zone where logic ends, the search continues with all hands. Strange encounters unexplained. Truth is out there, bravely chained. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling mystery, stories untold. Truth is out there. Truth is out there.
So you, Leslie.
The following program may contain extraterrestrial communications and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome into Saturday nights on KLR Radio. We do this thing every 2 weeks. Usually, it's been a month at this point because we had to punt 2 weeks ago, and then had to punt again last week because we were going to try to do a makeup. But I'm here. I'm live. Unfortunately, we're flying in missing man formation today. Mr. Ordnance J. Packard is off doing super secret stuff and taking care of things at the home front that I'll let him disclose later if he decides to do so. But we are doing our UFO roundtable because we've been trying to do this one now for a month. Unfortunately, Mr. Mickey Blowtorch also has a migraine, so he will not be joining us. And our executive producer has disappeared. I wonder if that, not our executive producer. Our programming director has disappeared. I am my own executive producer, so that was a stupid thing to say. Anyway, our programming director has disappeared. I wonder if it has anything to do with him claiming he is in fact an alien and didn't want to participate in us talking about these things today. However, I do have a panel with us this evening. You've already heard one of the folks that are going to be hanging out with us tonight, and that's Miss Leslie Dowd. She's also our disclaimer babe here on KLR Radio, an occasional contributor, and we're glad to have her back with us. I'm going to start with someone that you are more familiar with because he does a show with us every other Saturday night too. So usually when you're not listening to this one, you're listening to that one. We have none other than Bumpstock Kin with us right now tonight too, and he's even on camera.
I am on camera tonight, guys.
And I'll fix mine in a second once I'm done with all the introductions.
Do not adjust your sets. It is not a Sasquatch. It is just me.
I don't know. You're looking a little Sasquatchy back there. Although I've never seen a Sasquatch with horns before. So
Anyway. I will take that as a compliment, though. So.
Well, yeah, you should. All right, we are also joined by our very own Rancor Steve, who's recently joined the KLM Radio family and does his own podcast. Actually, his own podcast. He has several. Right now, we are running his show Manorama every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, right on our home network, and he also runs it through his own YouTube and Rumble channels. And some of you may be watching us on his YouTube channel right now. So, welcome to those folks, and welcome to Steve. And you should be seeing him just about now. Although he looks really small, so let me see if I can fix that.
It actually makes sense. Well, howdy, everybody.
I wasn't going to turn it into a height joke.
It's okay.
Since you went there, but yeah, I wasn't going to. And we also have with us this evening from SHR Media, someone who's become a good friend of mine and does a show over there every Tuesday and Thursday, and occasionally even a pop-up. And I'll be appearing on his show sometime soon. And he just did a show on, or he did a stint with Edge of Liberty just the other day. Our very own newest member of our extended family, and he goes by BZ, and he's right here.
Aloha, people. Welcome. Thanks for watching tonight.
And I will join you guys on camera. I just wanted to do all the introductions first. All right. So, yeah, normally we don't have cameras because, Amish is camera shy. I think it's something to do with the technology. I think with him having to do internet on a hamster wheel, I don't think he can power the camera. That's my theory. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, Miss Leslie was unaware it was going to be video, so she is choosing to participate audio style. I can actually add her to the feed in a moment, but all you would see is a black square where she is. But
yeah, no need.
But anyway, so everybody's here, and we all know what we're talking about tonight. So I'm just gonna start by kind of going around the table, and I know BZ will probably have more to say on this topic than most, so we'll probably start with you. What got you interested in this particular topic, sir?
I've been a witness to various forms of UFOs since about 1996, and then there was a huge gap after that. The first one was in San Diego, right around North Island in the U.S. Navy, and that was before it was cool to say that UFOs were around North Island in the U.S. Navy. Then I saw my second in 2019 when Mrs. BZ and I were on a coastal jaunt. We were both in a hot tub late at night, about 1 a.m., and we looked up, and the stars moved. Well, if you haven't been drinking alcohol and you're in a hot tub late at night, you look up and the stars move, that's disconcerting. And then in 2020 and 2021, when we couldn't go anywhere, because after all, I was in California, always spell it with a K at the time. You couldn't go anywhere. It was illegal to live and breathe, all that sort of stuff. And I spent a lot of time with some NVGs looking up, and I saw another 4 events that occurred directly above me, which kept me wondering, what have I seen? Is it something from who knows where? Or is it something that is manifestly via technology that we own? And I'm sure that we'll probably end up punting that subject around quite a bit. So I've always had an interest in UFOs. I have a good friend that is a Bigfoot researcher and investigator. I think I have seen a Bigfoot. Paranormal, not so much, but UFOs, a very interesting and keen interest in UFOs. I'm a member of MUFON and all that hoo-ha, except in Idaho, North Idaho, where I live. There isn't much of an organization, but boy, on a cold night, do we have a great sky. Holy crap. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I love your intro to your show because you're like, I am in fact now broadcasting from a free state.
Oh, I spent all my time. I originally started in terrestrial radio in the 70s, and then I retired in 2016. Did I say I was retarded in 2016? Well, I was that too, and then I retired in 2016. And
you sound
after
like
that, I had to have a job.
My dad says that every time he says he's retired. He's like, oh no, I'm retarded. No, I'm retarded. No, I mean retired.
Yeah. So I made that confusion. So I had to have something to do. So I went back into internet radio, and I've been having fun ever since. This is a hobby. I love it. Great time. Because I get to meet cool friends and new acquaintances like you guys.
Yeah, I've done both. I prefer internet. Having done both, I actually prefer internet radio. I just wish I could figure out how to bust into the pay scale a little more.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I'm hoping now that Trump is about to take all the throttles off, I hope, of all the stuff that may change for us soon. Anyway, all right. Next up, I'll save Steve for last because I know he's probably one that he's already mentioned he really didn't know that much about this. So it wasn't that. It was like, can I still come on if I don't know that much about them? I'm like, sure. We'll educate you while you're here. Anyway, so Leslie, when you saw the link, you basically said, "Can I please come on and do this?" So just tell folks.
Certainly, you can take somebody else before me.
No, ladies first.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So this is weird because I thought it was going to be 7 people talking about this topic, and I said I must jump in, and a bunch of people jumped out, but this is.
I mean, we still technically
I
have
think.
fun here, so you're good.
I think it's a fun topic to talk about, and especially among people that are sort of like-minded in regular things. To me, I think it's lovely to believe that there is more to the universe than just us in the United States and on this earth. And I am the most Christian of Christians. And yet, I believe that you can be a Christian and believe that the Lord, God created the universe and the earth, and also believe that maybe we're not the only ones here, that He could have created many other planets and many other things. So I was kind of saving this, Rick, for the end of the conversation, but you
didn't have to
you
tell
asked
me.
me.
You didn't have to tell me all of it right now. I was just curious to see why you wanted to get involved. But I'm actually kind of glad that you brought this up because as an ordained minister, I can tell you that one of the first things that drove me crazy about the Christian faith is the belief that we are the only thing that God created throughout the universe to rival Him Himself. When
Right.
heaven has a whole host of things we've never seen or heard of before. I've always found that
Right.
a little. I've always found that
Right,
a little.
but I must dial it back because before you like drop this on me, what I want to say is what turned me on as a child to the concept of aliens was that in Massachusetts, we all learn in school of like Betty and Barney Hill, who I
Right.
believe were the couple in like New Hampshire or something, one of the original people whose experience, like it, what do you say? Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the experience. We all literally learned about that in school when I was like in 3rd grade.
Yeah, no, I mean, trust me. But all right, so we'll let you off the hook for now because we still haven't heard from Bumpstock Ken yet either. And we'll, like I said, I'm just trying to give everybody a chance to get situated, make sure everybody that needs to promo has time to promo, and then we'll actually get into the conversation here in a second. But so, Ken, what has interested you in this topic specifically? Because I know you're more of a Sasquatch guy. So,
yeah. Kind of echo what Leslie was talking about a little bit. Just mentioned I'm a Christian. If you listen to Front Porch Forensics, our show, I talk about that quite a lot about my faith and my beliefs. What's that?
Good plug. You're learning.
Yeah, you tell that my beliefs play in even to everything that I talk about. Again, you mentioned Bigfoot. I love all things cryptids. I've always studied up on them and loved them worldwide, not just Sasquatch, but he's the top guy, number one. And as far as UFOs go, or UAPs now, I've never really seen anything that is like mind-blowing of like, oh, that's definitely what that is. I've seen things that are odd. unexplained lights, movements that don't really look like they, that don't make any sense trajectory wise. But as far as reading up on UFOs and the abductions and all those type of things, I have a firm belief onto what I think they are. And we'll get into that later. And so it's always kind of went hand in hand with my cryptids, my love for all things cryptids like that and the unknown, and just really looking into it.
Sorry,
I
what
know there's
what
a
is
lot
the
of
word that you're
crossover.
saying?
Cryptids?
Cryptids. It's another word for. It's a fancy word for things like Bigfoot.
Yeah, unknown
Like
zoological
mysteries?
animals,
Like
Bigfoot, Loch
mysteries?
Ness monster.
So
No,
cryptids
he's actually
is
saying
like
we're
mysteries?
cryptid.
Yeah, it's what CRYPTID cryptids.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of the umbrella label for everything that falls under Bigfoot, Wolfman, Mothman, Loch Ness monster, all these kind of things.
Gotcha. So
Aliens would
like,
fall in there too, I guess.
gotcha. Okay, thank you. I've never heard of
Mhm.
that before. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Bigfoot, they tie in. A lot of the sightings have UFO sightings tied in together with them as well. So, but yeah, I've always just been fascinated about all that kind of stuff. Sci-fi is some of my favorite movies to watch and to read books on. So. And then, of course, with the government coming out with their these last few congressional meetings and hearings that they've had here lately, it really caught my attention again. And if nothing else, it's just another way that the government's not being open and honest with us. So, like,
Are they ever though? Are they ever?
No,
That's that's half what I do.
Exactly
That's half
right.
But I mean, so what turned me on to all this? And I'll, like I said, I'm saving Steve for last because he's like, I don't know anything about these things, so I'm just gonna hang out. But that's fine. But yeah, so what turned me on to all this, and for those of you who haven't seen or heard this show before, this idea came about from me over 4 years ago, and it was back when Tucker Carlson, way back when Tucker Carlson was still on Fox News, even before he ever got in trouble. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching his show one night, and all of a sudden I hear him start talking about UFOs because they hadn't renamed them. And I'm like, wait a minute, when did like actual media people, other than like occasionally way back in the day on ABC, somebody you've never heard of, they'll finally run a story about it. But somebody like Tucker Carlson is talking about UFOs. That was actually the very first show I ever did. Was when did UFOs become mainstream and why didn't I get the memo? Because I had no idea. All of a sudden, everybody was talking about it, and it's been that way ever since. And one of the most interesting things for me is if you go back, because this has been a part of our history for a very long time, and that's actually part of what all of this documentation that just got flooded through Congress and everywhere else that got buried in the election cycle news was discussing was how long we have actually been dealing with these things. These things have been part of our history for so long that one of the original studies they did was if it became public knowledge that we were not alone in the universe, it would cause mass suicide, paranoia, pandemics, or not pandemics, but just people just doing crazy shit all over the place.
Mass panic.
And yeah, mass panic, mass hysteria, cats and dogs living together, all that stuff. But it's just so funny to me that we're now having this become mainstream. I mean, we've got clips of it being discussed in Congress that we'll be showing a little bit of tonight. We've got actual gun camera footage that we'll be showing tonight. We have all of it. Things that used to be nothing but conspiracy theory, and we're now looking at it like, holy crap, this stuff is legit. I mean, and that's why the title of the show is what it is, because if you've listened to this hearing, they basically admitted that they're here, or did they? Because you'll notice they kept trying to take a lot of it back after they admitted it, because that's what they do.
A lot of this originated from the New York Times article. It was in 2017, which talked about the Pentagon's UFO program and Lou Elizondo and ATIP. And once that broke by allegedly a mainstream media what I call the American media maggots, but it broke anyway in 2017. A lot of people tended to pick that up, and I believe that was the impetus behind Tucker Carlson deciding that he was now, you could come out and say that you were interested in it, because if the gray lady said something about that, then it must be verified.
Yeah, but it just makes me wonder who gave. I mean, who Maggie Haberman them is what I want to know, because we had a term in the morning show called the bat signal, because it was like Maggie Haberman would put out a statement and then every freaking media outlet would run with it within 5 minutes. So I want to know who the Maggie Haberman was on this topic, because who gave them the green light to start talking about it? Because it's something they've tried to keep secret for decades. I don't understand the policy shift on it. That's the part that I'm still trying to understand.
Which is also why I thought it changed from UFOs to UAPs. You know, only tinfoil hat wearers refer to UFOs. Now it's cool to refer to them as UAPs, but they're still the same thing, except that they're hoping that the slime and the tinfoil don't wear off on them, on other people's. Now it's more technical. UAPs.
I mean, yeah, they did come up with a more fancy term for it, so maybe that's part of the reason why it's suddenly become more palatable. But it just all seems weird to me overall. Just the mind shift and mindset change with it. I'm still trying to get to the bottom of that. But before we actually, I guess I will ask Steve now what made him interested to be a part of the panel, because I did say I was going to save him for last, and he's still just sitting there. So.
I would say Joe Rogan and Bob Lazar. Those two guys. It's like being a Christian, growing up, I never really believed in aliens. I'm more of the kind of logical side of it. If it makes sense logically, then okay, I can believe it. There was a video that they showed, I think, in Congress, or one of the videos that got leaked a few years ago, I think when Trump was still in office, of one of what looked like a ship, like a black dot that just dropped like in milliseconds pretty much. And I was like, that's physically not possible for a human to handle because of all the force. And so that kind of pushed me to go, maybe, but I'm always interested to hear things. I'm very open to hearing what like UFOs or whatever it is. Like, I'm even willing to sit down and listen to what flat earthers have to say, just because I was like, you know what? Maybe you might have something, but it's always fascinated me with everything. But I would say Joe Rogan and Bob Lazar have really pushed that, and especially a couple of my friends who are like, I've seen things. And I was like, okay. So, but this is such a fascinating conversation that I could learn so much and dive into it.
Yeah, I will say I have never, as far as I know, I've never had any type of UFO, UAP phenomenon. I have had haunting situations, though, which we may get into at another show at another time. But before we go too much further, I do want to play the opening of this particular thing right here, if I can make it work, because my internet suddenly decided to be cranky. So we'll see.
Peace, and I hope he lives up.
Hang on.
Peace, and I hope he lives up to that promise. And with that, I yield back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moskowitz. And I would now, committee staff asked me to go ahead and I will do it, to enter into the congressional record this 12-page document that Michael Schellenberger brought today that describes the Immaculate Constellation government program. So we will do that now. Every member up here has a copy of it. The first section.
It's called the Immaculate Constellation program. But the interesting thing is she actually mentioned something in a second. This is the whole reason I wanted to play this clip.
All right, I don't know anything.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about this, but okay. I don't. I have a friggin' problem with, like, I'm not a Catholic. I have a friggin' problem with the immaculate anything. But okay, go ahead.
All right.
Talks about the unacknowledged special access program called Immaculate Constellation, and the second section about USG imagery intelligence. And Representative Luna just told me if I say Immaculate Constellation, I'll be on some list. Maybe a FISA warrant, so come at me, bro, I guess. But without objection, entered in the record. All right, so next we will introduce our witnesses for today's hearing. Thank you so much for being here. Our first witness is Rear retired Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet, who retired from the U.S. Navy and is now the Chief Executive Officer at Ocean STL Consulting. Our second witness is Mr. Lou Elizondo, a former Department of Defense official and author of a recent bestseller book about UAPs. Our third witness is Mr. Michael Schellenberger, founder of the newsletter Public and author of a recent journalistic piece about special access programs, including one widely identified as Immaculate Constellation. I swear the staff wants me on a list. Okay. And our last witness today is Mr. Michael Gold, a former NASA official who is also a member of the NASA UAP Independent Study Team. Welcome, everyone. We are pleased to have you.
All right, so I'm going to stop right there for now. We actually will may play some of the testimony later. But the reason I wanted to play that part is, one, because I think it's absolutely hilarious that she says that somebody says if I say this name, I'm going to wind up on a list. And then they wrote a speech that kept they wrote a statement she had to read that kept making her say the name. So apparently even some of her own staff wanted her on said list, which I find interesting. But to answer Leslie's question, Immaculate Constellation is actually a government UAP program. One of the clips for footage we have is actually footage obtained through investigating that particular program itself. So that's the one that they're referencing. The reason I wanted to play that particular clip is if you go back and look, the people that are on that screen right now, or actually, hang on, let me back it up because it's too far. But the people that are sitting with her, hang on. I forgot to cut back to her. But that panel right there are some of the most well-known names in the whole ufology movement. All of them. People are all sitting in front of Congress all at the same time. This was all happening around election time. This got buried because everybody was talking about election. This is where they basically admitted things like, yes, they are here. Yes, we have their technology. Yes, we even have alien biological entities. This all happened in this hearing. It's insane.
So this is a good thing, right?
Yeah, this is us finding out the truth that they've been trying to hide from us forever. So yes, it's a very
good.
Well, I think it originated in 2017. For whatever reason, it came out. Lou Elizondo was one of the individuals that was originally on ATIP, and I think it was not necessarily embraced, but it somehow found itself released because of ATIP. And ATIP is the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. And I think the only reason that anyone in the DoD has said anything about this at the periphery, nobody in real ranks of power will acknowledge any of this, is that someone somewhere or a series of someones somewhere believe that what is seen in the sky or what they don't know and what they can't put their finger on is a threat to the defense of this nation and to other nations. There are numerous sightings of
but that's
UAPs
legitimate,
and UFOs
right?
over military installations and nuclear installations, and they take that as a threat.
Right, it ought to be a threat, right?
They should be paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons that it came out, escaped, and broke, so to speak. But then again, if you're going to be talking about it, if you're going to be having people that were contractors, etc., for the Department of Defense, then I think that's where the little term UFO got changed over to UAP, because it's a little bit cooler, it's a little bit newer, so to speak. And it doesn't involve aluminum or foil.
It's new, it's hip, and it doesn't involve tinfoil hats anymore. But I do have a question. You've mentioned some of your own sighting type situations. Are any of those that you're comfortable discussing this evening while we have you on the show?
You know, it's sad. I was going to do my own show about this, and I don't have the graphs right here. Not the first one and not the second one, but the subsequent 4 that I watched when I was in Sacramento. I later went out on pieces of paper and I drew them, and I drew what happened, what time, what portion in the sky it was. I suggest, if anybody's interested in this stuff, find a star tracker app and install it on your phone. And then if you do find yourself having a sighting, then you'll be able to throw up or take a screenshot of what was in the sky and where it was when you saw it, and that will make things much easier. I'll go back to
So you're
1996.
saying because this is very interesting. If you have your Star Tracker app, then you take a photo of something that seems weird to you in the sky, then you can try to map that with your Star Tracker app, and the app will say, or somehow you can say, yeah, that's not normal.
No, the Star Tracker app will do nothing but be a general record. I'm a member of
Yeah.
MUFON, and I'm going to be an investigator very shortly. One of the things that people want to do when they come, if, for example, you submit a sighting to MUFON, then if they think it's of any significance, they'll send an investigator. Part and parcel of the investigation process is having some sort of evidence as to what you saw and where it is that you saw it. So, having seen something, if you write it down, if you write the
Yeah.
time, day, and what portion of the sky in which you were looking, and then you take that Star Tracker app and hold it up to the sky and let it sink in. And once it sinks, then you can take a photo or a screenshot of what stars are in that particular area, because that will help at the time. In other words, could it be a planet that you saw? Could it be a missile shell? Could it be Skylab? Could it be any of the junk and effluence that's cruising around, the hundreds of thousands of
Yes.
pieces of crap that are in the atmosphere over us, some of it in geosynchronous
Yes.
synchronous orbit. So that's an attempt, if you have that app, to screenshot the general area, because that will let people know what was in play at the time
Yes.
that you saw it. Any evidence like that is always good.
All right. Well,
Yep.
I do want to take a second just to throw this out there. We are currently being simulcast now on SHR Media's YouTube channel as well. You can see us right there on the big screen, even.
Nice. Thanks, SHR.
Hello.
All right. Just wanted to throw that out there. We lost Steve. Hopefully, he'll be back momentarily. I don't know what happened there. Maybe he decided he'd had enough of us.
Hey, BZ.
Sir.
That Star Tracker app, does it cover it tracks like the space station and satellites and stars and stuff, all that together, or?
Yes, there's a whole bunch of different apps. One of them that just came to my brain housing group was Star Tracker, but there are probably 3 or 4 fairly decent apps that you can get if you research it and investigate it and find out, how many stars they get. And each one a little bit different. Some you have to pay for, some are free. With the free ones, you get ads, but they will give you a general overview if you have a recent sighting of what happened to be in the heavens at the time that you made your viewing. And I did that once for the viewing in 2019, and sadly I didn't do it for the 4 times that I had in 4 times in 2020 and 2021. But I wrote it all down, and I wrote the times and the dates and the initial configuration of whatever it is that I saw, and then how things ended up. And any evidence, if you're serious about documenting, and any evidence that you have is always good. Now, do I necessarily believe that everything that I see is a UFO? Well, by strict definition, yeah, unidentified flying object, or UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. Oh, there's a big difference. Not really. So almost anything that you see that you haven't identified is up in the air, and it's an object, falls under UFO. But is it alien in nature? I have no damned idea. None at all. Now, I can tell you what I saw, and I can tell you that they are anomalous, and I can tell you that you don't customarily see them, and I can tell you that subsequently I went out and purchased some NVGs, which are cool as hell, because on a clear night, you wouldn't believe what's up in the heavens moving around. Now, I would guess that most of you have probably been out at night and seen Starlink.
I haven't.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's pretty cool to see. Yeah.
I've seen it. Yes.
So once you've seen Starlink, that'll give you a general clue as to kind of what you can expect to see. Or you've been out late at night on a very nice clear night, if you have a nice clear sky, and you're not anywhere near some, American leftist urban rat cage that despoils all the light around you, and you don't have any light interference. There's an amazing amount of stuff to be seen. Satellites, Skylab. When Skylab goes by, you would not believe how bright it is, and you would not believe how fast it travels. Skylab, for example, travels at 17,000 miles an hour, and it rockets across the sky, relatively speaking. And just to slap on a pair of NVGs at night on a clear sky is absolutely, literally, and physically illuminating. You would not believe what you can see up there. The sky, you will see falling stars, comets, etc. You will see tons of satellites, many of which you can see with the naked eye. And the heavens contain an amazing amount of things to be seen if you just go out and look. And I'm firmly in belief that the fact that I saw what I saw when I saw them is because, like everybody else, especially in California, always spell it with a K, when you're outside in 2020 and you can't really go anywhere and the movies are closed, I went out and sat my fat ass in a chair and just watched the sky for quite a long period of time. And after a while, I wasn't disappointed. And then the stars came back on subsequent times.
So doesn't this say that the heavens are glorious, that we can see now with our technology things that we could have never seen before, and maybe what we see is not aliens, what we see is not UFOs, but we just see better.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Leslie. In chat, Sackhead Sean said, I would love to see someone walking down the street at night and see BZ just looking up with NVGs and a glass of vodka.
No, I don't know. I'm not in the chat, so I'm just saying.
I'm sorry,
I'm just saying, and I'm just
made me laugh. Leslie, go ahead.
No, that was my question, because again, we are all together. We all agree. So I'm just trying to be, the devil's advocate here. That, okay, you can see more clearly into the heavens. And we are now, in 2024, seeing more. Not only do we see more clearly into the heavens, but we have the technology with the satellites, our satellites from our technology. Does this make you believe more in extraterrestrials or less in extraterrestrials?
I have a story for you that involved my father that is actually too long to take here because I don't want to Bigfoot the entire show, and I'm afraid I'm doing so. But there are those who believe, there are ex-officials who say that since 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico, that we have reverse engineered various amounts of alien technology for secretive arms race, which may involve Russia, which may involve China, and some others. So to go back, do I know for a fact that I saw a UFO or UAP? Oh, yes, definitely. Do I know that it's alien in nature? Oh, hell no.
Right.
For example, a TR-3B is something that's generally triangular in nature, and people have said that we've been working on those for quite some time. If you remember the SR-71 project, And then we said we were going to be moving into Aurora. I'm a big fan of the SR-71. It was 1960s and 1950s slide rule technology, creating an aircraft that no one really has exceeded at this point right now. And it was so terribly expensive that the program died. And the only people that took it up were NASA's, because they had the money in the budget at the time to be able to continue with a few SR-71s. Then apparently we transgressed or transmogrified into Aurora. No one ever saw a particular example of that. We have drone technology. We have stealth technology. How did we get that? How did we get? Look up Tacit Blue. TACIT Blue.
I don't need
Tacit
it. Listen, man, I don't need to look up anything. I'm asking your opinion about stuff.
And
And
that's
I'm
what I'm
with
giving
you.
you. Look up
And I am
Tacit
with
Blue.
you.
Tacit Blue
And I am with
technology
you.
is
And I'm with
technology.
you. And I said I grew up with the legend of Betty and Barney Hill.
Yes,
I grew up with the
1961.
legend of Betty and Barney Hill. So I'm not challenging you. I'm just saying with I'm just saying, what do you believe now?
Well,
Well,
I
do I
mean, to
Here,
be
let
fair,
me.
I think he's tried to tell you what he believes. He's seen
Okay.
things that he can't explain, and he doesn't know whether
Right.
they're alien or not. He just knows that they're
Right.
abnormal.
That's the thing. I'm asking is are you convinced or are you still skeptical?
I don't know what I saw. I don't
There you
know if
go.
it was definitely alien, and I don't know if it was terrestrial in nature. I do know
There you
about the
go.
Fermi paradox. If you're not familiar with the Fermi paradox, it's the discrepancy between the lack of what people call conclusionary evidence of
Mm-hmm.
advanced extraterrestrial life and the
Mm-hmm.
high likelihood of its existence. So there was a guy named Enrico Fermi who came out of Los Alamos during the Manhattan Project, worked on that and a few other things. And he and another dude named Edward Teller got together and said, okay, what is the percentile chance, and can we make an equation out of this that would indicate the likelihood of aliens and alien technology? And so they came up with, what was it? The Drake equation. And the Drake equation was sort of a probabilistic argument that nuclear physicists and swellheads came up with to try to figure out the likelihood of a civilization making it to some kind of a out into the big beyond. And then they came up with something called the Great Filter idea. And they had something called the Kardashev scale. And essentially what they said, and it's been in science fiction books and movies and things like that forever. But what's the likelihood of any advanced civilization making it beyond its two areas, making it beyond its atomics and making it beyond its AI? And if you can get an advanced civilization to somehow make it beyond its atomics realm, in other words, if they are smart and if they are sufficiently smart enough to be able to make it beyond and not blow the fuck out of themselves on the planet and eradicate and irradiate the entire planet, then what's the likelihood that they would pass that and get to an AI where AI doesn't in fact end up killing them, and then moving on? And then depending on who you talk to, which particular scientist, and using what particular scale, some people say that there is no way in hell that advanced civilizations have made it out into the ozone. And then there are those who say the universe is so wide and so vast and so incredible that it would be silly, stupid, and fattening to think that there haven't been alien civilizations that managed to surmount those two huge mileposts and then go out into the universe.
I
And I'm
completely
sorry,
agree.
I'm
I
Bigfoot.
completely agree. Can the gentleman on the top right, can my buddy on the top right say anything?
Oh, which one? Me? Or
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you. Yes, you.
I think with the advancement of all the telescopes, for instance, we're getting to see all the very clear pictures of the universe now. especially since Hubble, and then the upgrade with the new one. I can't remember its name now.
It's the Webb. It's the other guy.
Yeah, it's thank you. But I think that has really caused an uptick in the imagination of people to really want to look into the universe. And when it's the human nature, when we see something so vast that we want and we desire those sci-fi movies we watch to be real, right? So just follow me on this. So is there life out there that's advanced enough it can come visit us and study us and all that? That's very highly probable as far as people can, most people believe that. My question, I always wonder if they're that far advanced, why are they studying us? Just kind of see where we're at. You have people who believe that they are so far advanced that they're coming back to check on what they started, because there's a huge following, a belief of some people that our civilization started from aliens, from outer space visitors. And there's compelling evidence that that could be the case with some of the, Egyptian, whatever they're called, they're little doodles on the walls,
Hieroglyphics. Yeah.
Yeah, and then even all the way down to the cave paintings and stuff. You see things that could be construed, taken for a spacecraft or an alien. I don't really think, personally, that there is a life form outside of Earth. And again, I fall back heavily on my religious beliefs on it. And I think that what we're seeing as far as what we're seeing in these videos, I think most of them are government type or private sector type drones and things like that. I think they can be explained away. The other side of it, I think what we're seeing could be more of a, this is where it sounds weird, but aliens to me are not real, but demons are. Okay.
Amen.
I think that what we're seeing here and what we're experiencing here is not something that is from another world, but from a spiritual realm that is exposing itself. Because I've said back, 30 years ago or more, I said that if I was the devil, the way I would win or fight this battle at the end would be through alien visitors. Because what is better to shake the foundation of Christianity is to have an alien race show up tangible, that you can see, that you can touch, that you can talk to, and they show up here and say that they are the reason that we are here, not God, but them. Now you've got people who already don't believe, non-believers. Well, there's their answer. Perfect. They're going to jump on that immediately. So there's half the planet immediately that will step away from any kind of faith. And then you've got people on the fence that's going to say, oh, well, here's something tangible that I can see. I don't need faith because there it is. I can believe that because it makes more sense. I can see it. I can touch it. I can hear it. So you're going to lose all them. And then you're going to have people that are weak in their faith, that struggle, that's going to fall out of that faith because, again, something tangible. Not a God that you can't see, but a small g God standing in front of you. So I think it's a spiritual warfare thing that's going to wind up happening, that's going to come through and eventually present itself. Now, I do leave the door open, so if a alien does land and make contact one day, and they walk out and say that they are, we come in peace or whatever, that we are the same type of creation that you are, just from a different world, the same God that made you made us, and they're not, trying to take over or change anything along those lines, then we can talk. But if something pops up that looks like it's just out there, a Predator or the Alien franchise or something crazy like that, then I'm immediately going to be backing off of that. So
Get to
there's
the
my
chopper.
conspiracy theory,
Wrong.
but
All right, guys, we skipped the break on purpose because there was a lot to say. We're gonna go to the top of the hour break a little bit differently. We have something that was put together by our very own programming director. So we're gonna take a music break before we go into the regular break. There's still another hour left though, so you guys hang tight. We'll be right back.
I'm so happy.
It started in Roswell back in 47. A spark in the desert, a rumor from heaven. A farmer found debris that didn't make sense. The whispers grew louder, the cover-up immense. Then came the lights over Phoenix at night. A silent formation, mysterious flight. People stood frozen, their hearts full of wonder. Was it man-made or a sign from out yonder? Eyes to the sky, searching the unknown. The stories we tell, the seeds that are sown. Are we alone in this vast galaxy, or are they watching just out of reach? The pilots in dogfights with objects unseen. Discs in the daylight, metallic and keen. From Project Blue Book to reports in the dark. Governments scrambling to hide the spark. Crop circles and fields, abduction tales spread. Dreams of encounters that dance in our heads. From the tic-tac to radar, the sightings don't cease. A puzzle in the sky, a riddle of peace. Eyes to the sky, searching the unknown. The stories we tell, the seeds that are sown. Are we alone in this vast galaxy, or are they watching just out of reach? Ancient petroglyphs tell of strange lights. Old texts speak of gods descending in the night. Science meets fiction, the truth is unclear, but the stars hold secrets we're desperate to hear. Today the files are unsealed and revealed, yet the truth feels elusive, the fate's still concealed. The skeptics and believers, their debates ignite, while we keep our gaze fixed on the infinite night. Eyes to the sky, searching the unknown. The stories we tell, the seeds that are sown. Are we alone in this vast galaxy, or are they watching just out of reach? So we look to the heavens and whisper a plea for a sign, a connection, a cosmic decree. Through the ages we've wondered, and still we will try to uncover the truth with our eyes to the sky.
Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRN Radio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at klrnradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
Are you ready to reach for the stars? Tune in to The Lost Wanderer, the #1 monthly podcast on good pods in astronomy. Join our host, Jeff, as he takes you on an interstellar adventure to explore the mysteries of space and the wonders of science. From rocket launches and distant galaxies to the latest discoveries in astronomy, each episode is a thrilling ride through the cosmos. Don't just gaze at the stars, come explore the universe with us. Follow The Lost Wanderer wherever you get your podcasts, and let's discover the stars together.
My dad was really, really special, and I loved my dad a lot.
I'm proud of him, and that even though he isn't here with us, but he died as a true hero.
I miss everything about him.
In the moment that the officers and I had to come see the children, my biggest reaction was, I don't have 7 arms. I have 7 children who just lost their father, and I don't have 7 arms to wrap around them.
I'm Frank Silla, chairman of the Stephen Silla Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Our foundation is committed to delivering mortgage-free homes for Gold Star families and fallen first responder families.
To not have to worry financially is a huge peace of mind. The thought of, what in the world will I possibly do to pay the bills? How will I possibly let the children have a life that feels normal? I don't want them to have to quit their piano lessons or their basketball. I don't want them to feel that we have to move into a little apartment and struggle financially in addition to the emotional weight.
There are over 1,000 families that need our help. Tunnel to Towers is honoring those heroes that risk their lives by providing them with mortgage-free homes.
Those who serve us and then lay down their lives protecting our freedoms and our safety, the least we can do is $11 a month to give them that peace of always knowing there's a home, there's that sanctuary when life feels like it's been tipped upside down, because it has, when you lose a parent in the line of duty, to know you can go home, you can be safe, there's no risk of losing your home. That's a peace of mind that I can't believe you can get for $11 a month.
I'd like to ask you to contribute $11 a month to support their efforts.
Please donate $11 a month by calling 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our government was established to secure these rights and for the good that comes from exercising them well. This is why the founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire. Hillsdale College, pursuing truth and defending liberty since 1844.
Ready to learn some medieval combat, kiddo?
You bet, Dad. Let's do this.
You know, spending quality time with your kids is important, but finding a fun and safe way to do it can really be a challenge. That's where halberds come in. Halberds are the perfect way to bond with your kid while teaching them about history and physical fitness. Plus, they're a blast to play with. So next time you're looking for some family fun activity, grab a halberd and get ready to make some memories.
Come on, Dad. Round 2.
Halberds, bringing families together one medieval battle at a time. This commercial brought to you by the KLRNradio.com Ad Council.
Green man in the desert night, Bigfoot roaming out of sight. Government shadows, secrets deep, conspiracies unfold while we sleep. Strange encounters unexplained, truth is out that really shade. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling history, stories untold. Area 51, a whispered name. UFO sightings, a haunting flame. Loch Ness monster, a watery myth. Cryptozoology, a curious gift. Strange encounters unexplained. Truth is out there, bravely changed. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling mystery, stories untold. Skeptics doubt, believers yearn for answers hidden yet to learn. In the twilight zone where logic ends, the search continues with all hands. Strange encounters unexplained. Truth is out there, bravely chained. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling mystery, stories untold. Truth is out there. Truth is out there.
You're up, Leslie.
The following program may contain extraterrestrial communications and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome back into Juxtaposition Hour 2. I am Rick Robinson, part of the normal crew. The other half of the normal crew is off doing super secret stuff. Mickey Blowtorch was going to join us this evening, but he's not feeling well either. But we do have a panel that I'll be reintroducing in a moment because we are discussing the UFO Roundtable discussion this evening is what we've been focusing on. And it's because of all the news that's dropped over the last couple of weeks that you might have missed because of the election. So reintroducing my panel one bit at a time. First of all is myself, actually on camera. Sorry, I know some of you were like, please turn that back off. Nope, not going to happen. Then we also have our very own. Well, actually, he's off camera right now, so I'm assuming he may have stepped away. There he is. All right, so now he's back. So there we have our very own Bump Stock Ken, who hosts a show right here on KLRN Radio, Front Porch Forensics, which runs the opposite Saturdays of this show. Then we have, for the first time with us from SHR Media, our very own BZ, part of the new family around here. And we have, I don't see him anymore. Did he step away? Nope, there he is. All right, sorry. I'm not used to having to deal with so many cameras. We also have from Manorama and Manorama Productions, Rancor Steve, who just got a compliment for his name, which I thought was pretty cool. And of course, our disclaimer babe, Leslie, and Ken has a peeker.
Yes, Bump Stock Barbie is walking in.
Who that?
Whoa.
Say no to that.
Why would I say no to that? That might boost ratings.
Hey.
We'll save it for next Halloween. How's that?
Okay, I'm going back to cleaning.
Yeah, I didn't mean to drop the bombshell of demons.
I was wondering what she was up to.
Yeah,
I was wondering what she was up to because I saw it in the workroom. She's like, I have an idea, and I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, I didn't mean to drop the demons bombshell at the end of the last hour there, but it is timed out that way.
Hey, I know why you're not on this show, sir, and you can't say that because we know better because you are one. So there.
Yeah.
I always knew he was. I always had a suspicion.
Well, I mean, he doesn't hide it very well either.
No.
He just, I mean, you put a couple beers in him, he's telling you exactly where he's from and how long he's been here. Doesn't hide it very well. But
No.
anyway, so back to the discussion, and I did have this queued up, and then I changed screens. So hang on, I got to get back to it. Because we've got some footage that I figured we'd talk about in this hour. I don't really want to go into the heady side of the reports and all the different, technical language and everything else. I just want to kind of show people what has been being released because of the reports, and then discuss those things. But my computer's being a little cranky, so bear with me for just a second. I have too many DMs. I have noticed this. Because when I lose one, it takes me forever to find them again. Where did it go?
I do. Okay, so I do have a question for you guys.
Sure.
If I
have an answer. Let's see if they match.
Oh, okay. So let's just say aliens do come here. People like, hey, look, we're like you. We have the same God and all this stuff. How do you, like, today's society with the Gen Zs and all of them, the TikTokers, the Instagrams and all of them, how would they be able to handle like something if aliens did come down? Let's say like Independence Day without the whole blowing up all that
Destruction.
shit. Like yeah, destruction. How would the people that probably younger than me handle aliens that came here if they were real and all that stuff? Like how would they? I want to hear what you guys have to say, because that popped in because when you talked about demons, I was like, ooh, I have actually a really good question about that stuff, because I have an answer to that, but I'm curious of what you guys have to say.
I feel like I am saving this toward the end of this podcast, because I have a very strong feeling about this, and you're a Christian, right? I'm saving it to the end of the podcast.
Okay.
Well, no, that's fine. We'll come back to that. So before we get to that, though, I would like to start showing some of the footage that we have collected. So some of the gun camera footage. This one was actually submitted by Mr. Mickey Blowtorch, who unfortunately was not feeling well and couldn't join us.
Yeah, this is the jellyfish.
Yeah, which is really weird, in my opinion.
It looked I had said earlier that if we didn't know better, it would look like something off a Star Wars movie, you know.
And that's what I was thinking.
It would fit right in, wouldn't it?
I was thinking more Neil Blomkamp style, like District 9.
Oh, District 9, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
It's good
Great
looking.
movie.
Well, so here's the thing, and I'm just going to pause this because I didn't realize how long it was. I'm going to leave it on the screen for a minute while we talk about it, though. Here's the thing. So one of the theories that I have been seeing bantied about the internet regarding aliens and all this stuff, or whether they're extra dimensional beings and stuff like that, which we may get into in the second half of this hour, because there's stories about that too, is this, that they may or may not have underground bases or even undersea bases. So if they do, they being the aliens.
Really? So you're saying that aliens have underground bases on Earth?
Underground and undersea bases, yes. This is actually one of the,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That hurts my feelings, because like me as a Middle Eastern person are already trying to like eliminate Hamas in the Middle East and in Israel for their fucking underground bases. So now you're saying the aliens have some too?
Well, apparently, according to some of the information that was talked about in Congress this past week, yes, they do believe they may not have undersea facilities. Which the reason I bring it up, this would explain why we suddenly have UAPs that are resembling oceanic creatures.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, that was just one of the pieces of footage that I wanted to bring up during the topic, and yeah, so we've got more we'll get to later. But as far as, I mean, so far we've got a lot of folks in the chat. I did see somebody, and I didn't get a chance to mention it earlier. They'd actually mentioned that, and I don't know if they're still in the chat or not, but they had mentioned that they themselves have experienced a close encounter of the third kind. So I thought that was it. Again, I have not. I have had close experiences with what I believe were some form of spirit or maybe even a demon a couple of different times, but not alien. But yeah, so I mean, just kind of going around the panel, starting with Ken. What are your thoughts on the jellyfish? What do you think? What do you think it might actually be if it's not what they're saying it is?
Well, like I said, I'm a big skeptic on it. So my first instinct, obviously, is it's a drone, some sort of surveillance type drone. Why is it shaped that way? I don't know. But now, if we're to play along with the alien outer space type thing, I was thinking the same thing you were with the reports of them being underwater, in the oceans, that it would make sense because it would be the things that they are seeing in their natural surroundings to kind of make it something that they are looking at, which would be the actual the biological living organisms in the water. So that would make sense. It would be shaped like a jellyfish, kind of. I hate to see the day that like the big great white shark spaceship comes up and drone starts checking things out.
As long as it doesn't start playing the Baby Shark theme, I will be fine.
Oh man! I was ready for it.
Shame
too.
on you. Don't who listen, man. Don't put that back in our heads. Shame on you.
You're welcome. Hey, I have a 4-year-old granddaughter who lives in my home. I hear Baby Shark on a loop. That and the Frozen song are on a loop. So welcome to the world. And Steve,
please catch her up. Please catch her up to something more modern.
oh, actually, she's starting to get into all the Disney movies now, so she's singing other stuff now, but still. And Steve, since you're one of the newer folks, especially to this particular conversation, what are your thoughts on this particular gun camera footage?
So I have one question. When was this when was this filmed actually? Because there's an actual point to this.
I'm not sure if the sourcing I have shows, but let me find out.
The biggest revelation came through in 2017 when the New York Times broke that article, and then Louis Elizondo came in on that. But a great deal of the gun camera footage came from Southern California, off of, I think, the Nimitz, and whoever was flying, like David Fravor was one of the ones. And I believe that was around 2005. Rick, you're going to have to correct me on that when you find the video. But I think it sources back to right around 2005, give or take.
Okay. So
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
The reason why I asked the date, or roughly around the date, 2005, if that's the time it was, is because I come from a film background, so with adding in special effects and visual effects and all that stuff, knowing that here's the thing. When it comes to footage, if it's like an actual like gunman footage, it's really easy to add in things if it's like 5 years from now. Like 5 years earlier, you can add it in there really easily and make it believable. If it's like 2005, it's really, with technology then, it's really difficult to kind of like make people like, oh, this is an alien kind of thing. So looking at it, the way that footage was, I was like, that's a little too smooth for an editor and visual effects department to actually add in, unless you add a bunch of hours. I'm not saying that's what that was. But coming from a film background, I've seen a lot of people do some crazy things with some things, but this one it looks way too real. It doesn't look like a drone. That's the thing. It just, I don't know. It's kind of cool looking, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe that is a real spaceship. I don't know. Like, it does look very Star Wars like from Empire Strikes Back. But it's kind of cool looking to kind of see flying around, and I don't know.
I'll be honest. First thing I thought of was Imperial probe droid.
Yes.
It's almost like somebody stole it.
What Rick, I don't know if you found the year on it, but what I found, it said it was filmed by the U.S. military in 2018 in Iraq. So
yeah, you found the same thing I found, because that's what I was about to say.
So the thing that I notice is when you're dealing with that type of footage, it's really hard for an editor. It is possible, but it takes a lot of man hours to actually do for you to do a sequence like that to where it's like you have the way it looks, you have to do a lot of filters and stuff. I'm not saying it's not real. What I'm trying to say is it's actually pretty hard to actually do that and make people believe like it's an alien and stuff, because every time you see like a footage of like something in the sky, it's always on a phone, and it's probably one of the crappiest looking things you ever see. You're like, really? We have like 4K on our cameras and on our phones. This looks a little too real for me, where I'm like, that's kind
Like
of
too crisp and clear, right?
yeah, because
Yeah.
I've seen the footage before and I broke it down and I didn't see any edits or any of the visual effects cuts and all that stuff in it, and it's fascinating. It's a little too smooth. That's the other thing. It's way too smooth for you to kind of break it down. Even when you've done a frame by frame that I've done, I'm like, dude, I don't see any issues. I don't see any things that a visual effects department would do to add it, because you would see if you do a frame for frame on a shot, you would see something that's a little off. This
Right.
is just
So, but what does it mean? What's your conclusion? Is this like an alien, like a, whatever the hell they call it now, UFO? Or is it just some lovely thing that the government makes, lovely technology that the government makes? What's your conclusion?
it could be either both of those. It could be
Yeah.
something that the government made, or it could be something that's not that we've UFO alien like.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the thing where I'm kind of like, I'll with that footage that Rick showed, I believe it here because it's like I've done the research on it and I've done the frame for frame shots and everything and dissected everything, and it's like there was no studio, no company in Hollywood made that one. It's real. I don't know. It could be a drone. That would be a one hell of a big drone. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
but it's like, who knows? That's the thing. Like when it comes to government stuff, like I'm very skeptical on government things when it comes to that stuff. I don't know.
Cynical.
Yeah, it's
cynical. Me too. I think we all are, right?
Yeah, so who knows? I'm very curious as to what it is. Like if they're like, yeah, this was extraterrestrial, that's a big word for me. Then okay.
Look at Rancor busting out the 50-cent word.
I know, right? Hey.
All right, so we got another one. Hang on, I realized that we've been talking so much, we've already burned through almost another half hour. So this is actually from the Today Show. It looks like it was filmed, it was released to the Today Show about 3 years ago. I haven't been able to source the actual time frame of the video.
Whoa, it's getting close. On a pitch black night off the coast of California, newly leaked video allegedly shows one of the U.S. Navy's stealth ships tracking an unknown object in the sky. And after a few minutes, splashed. Mark bearing and range. The 2019 footage obtained by filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, who last month released another video of an upside-down pyramid UFO hovering above a Navy destroyer.
This is part of a much larger series of events that we're going to be learning about.
The Pentagon confirming the video was taken by Navy personnel. The image is now being reviewed by a government task force set to brief Congress next month on what they call unidentified aerial phenomenon. This weekend, 60 Minutes speaking to fighter pilots who reported seeing unidentified flying objects.
Every day for at least a couple years.
Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence Chris Mellon says sensor technology has improved dramatically over the years, but pilots have reported seeing some of the same things for decades.
Are there any similarities between these recent incidents and incidents that go back as far as half a century?
There seems to be a lot of continuity there.
He says one of the biggest problems is the stigma that comes with talking about UFOs, something a Navy lieutenant commander also told CBS she struggled with after she and 3 others saw a 40-foot flying object disappear in 2004.
I think that over beers we've sort of said, hey man, if I saw this solo,
I don't know that I would have come back and said anything because it sounds so crazy when I say it.
How would you describe this thing that we can't explain?
What we're seeing are a number of distinct, different things. Sometimes we're seeing a 50-foot object that can travel at hypersonic speeds and seemingly go into orbit or come down from, altitudes above potentially 100,000 feet.
Do you think that we will see a release from the government that shows something conclusively?
There is more that could be shared, will be shared with Congress for certain. I don't see that coming to the public soon.
And that is the problem. All we're really seeing are these little glimpses of leaked videos, while things like the original high-definition footage, the radar data, the sonar data, that hasn't been released because most of it's classified. And there could be some very worldly explanations. It could be Russian or Chinese drones, a top-secret U.S. project. But at this point, it's going to be up to Congress to get to the bottom of this whole mystery. Guys?
All right, Gotti Schwartz. Gotti, thank you for that.
All right, so I want to playing something in my ears. There we go. I always forget there's always crap at the end of those that says, "Hey, come find our stuff, bastards." All right. Anyway, so I went ahead and let the whole clip play because I thought it broke it down fairly well. But I do have this to say, because one of the first things that I found interesting by the reporter trying to backtrack it is, if it was in fact some sort of secret government program, would they still have allowed all the stuff to come from the Navy to be released to the public? That seems a little weird to me. Maybe it's just me.
Well, a lot of this came from 2004, I think, from the Nimitz carrier group. And retired Navy Commander David Fravor was flying an FA-18 and then shot through gun cams what they call the Tic Tac videos. And they're pretty primitive in nature from the ones that I saw. But it took from roughly 2004, 2005 before Lou Elizondo at ATIP was able to reveal a lot of this stuff. And I have to go back to the fact that if the DOD doesn't know what it is, and if it's not coming from them or us, and would we even say if it was, they view it and should view it as a military threat, because they tend to gather. My sighting in 1996 was in San Diego. The Nimitz carrier group at the time was out of San Diego from North Island, from NAS. And that's also right around just past and west of Catalina Island, where they have seen submersibles go. So when you have creditable witnesses like this, who inherently by their very nature don't want to come out and say something, and yet despite that, generally after retirement, come out and make these statements, then you've got what I would consider to be credible observers in these things. And there tend to be, as with the things that I saw, and if anyone here has seen a UFO, you tell me if these 5 categories exist for you as well. One is some kind of an anti-gravity lift, and that means that as far as you can tell, there's no visible means of propulsion. And then you have the second is sudden and instantaneous acceleration. And what I termed that was absolutely non-ballistic movements. I'm a military brat. I'm an Air Force kid. I lived at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I've always been near an Air Force base. I can name all the aircraft from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s up to the 90s. And the one that I saw in 1996 was definitely absolutely non-ballistic movements. In other words, moving straight and then a 90-degree up. So that's basically number 2, sudden and instantaneous acceleration. And then you get such acceleration that it falls into the third category, hypersonic acceleration and velocities without any kind of a signature, or you don't see a jet or a pod or exhaust or propellers or any known and obvious terrestrial means of movement. And then you may see something that number 4, like low invisibility, or it's seen for a while and then it takes off and then you no longer can see it. That's part of the 5 observables. And then what other people, and I think Ranko or Steve, you mentioned something about this, what people consider to be transmedium travel. That is to say, they go somewhere, they come back. Do I know that's for a fact that it doesn't exist? No. Do I know for a fact that it does exist? No. What did I see in 1996 around a huge military installation at the time? Something in the sky at night that was absolutely scaldingly fast and exhibited absolutely non-ballistic maneuvers. There is nothing in the world at the time in 1996 that could go that fast and stop and not kill the person that was inside, if in fact it was occupied.
Schrodinger's object. Does it exist or does it not? But I do have a point that I think is semi-relevant, because I think some interesting things started happening around the same time that this stuff started becoming mainstream. And by that, I mean this was around the time that X started gaining prominence. This was around the time that that Bezos's rocket company started trying to make waves. So we started moving into the commercialization of space travel. And I find it interesting that around the same time that those things started becoming household names, that's when it suddenly became okay to talk about this kind of stuff. Because for those of you who haven't listened to this particular show, Ordnance and I, and usually guests, will go through things like the fact of why did we suddenly stop going to the moon? Because it makes no sense that if we made it all the way there in the 60s, why did we suddenly stop going? One of the topics that we've discussed here is the theory, and this is a widespread theory that's been all over the interwebs for quite some time, is the fact that there may actually be an alien presence on the dark side of the moon that basically told us not to come back. So is this part of the reason why now that the government is losing control on people's ability to get to space, that now they're suddenly openly discussing all these things to get a trick they've known about for a long time?
I think that since you mentioned not going back to the moon, I think that's also one of the reasons we may not be exploring the ocean like we really should be as well. But do you think that the government releasing this stuff could them just be getting out in front of what they know will be an uptick in sightings and
that's what I said.
Yeah, no,
that's what I suggested earlier. Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that may actually be the thing, but I think the reason they're trying to get out in front of it is because they don't have a stranglehold on space travel anymore. NASA was pretty much, other than other world agencies, and there weren't very many, NASA was pretty much the only way we used to be able to get to space. Now it's not. Exactly. Now we have private companies that are actually doing the job for NASA because NASA can't do it anymore for reasons we won't get into on this particular show. But so I do find the timing of that rather interesting. Now, there's one other point that I did want to make tonight as well, because while I do believe that some of these things may actually be extraterrestrial, and I think it may have actually been Ken that touched on this earlier, I don't necessarily believe that they are extrasolar, because there is a theory that there is another planet in our solar system on a very large elliptical orbit, and that's technically where all of us came from and where a lot of these objects may in fact be coming from, otherwise known as Nibiru or Nex.
You're indicating Nibiru.
Yes.
All right. I don't. This is new to me, and I don't know that we have time to educate me about this. But I'll ask any of y'all on the down low about what that is. Okay.
Well, it's a quick enough explanation. Nibiru, Planet X, is technically supposed to be what was, until they made Pluto and not a planet, our 10th planet in our solar system, and it's on what is supposed to be a 2,000-year elliptical orbit, meaning it's on a very extended orbit, so it goes really close to the sun, then it goes really far away from the sun, then it comes back and starts over again. So they're about once every 2,000 years, it's fairly close to our orbit, kind of like how every 2 years it takes about 6 months to get to Mars. So kind of the same thing. Nibiru, about every 2,000 years, is fairly close to us. So at least that's the theory.
And what about it?
They believe that may be where most of our life actually came from, is that particular planet.
They who?
The people that have the theory.
Okay. Is that your theory?
No, I didn't say it was mine. No, it's not my theory. It's one that we've discussed.
Thank you. Is that anybody's theory in this conversation?
Well, let me go back to the Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox.
No. Tim, it's a very simple question.
I'm going to answer it.
Is it anybody's theory in this conversation that human life came from that planet?
Leslie, he's trying to answer you. You have to let him answer.
Okay. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm asking the question. Go ahead.
I don't
All
know
right.
that. I don't know anyone that believes that theory. I think it's just one of the many theories that are out there. I don't put a lot of credence into it, but I know there are some pages and some forums that do, believe that. Absolutely believe it. It's not a. To me, I don't like I said. To me, I don't really buy into it. But there is a lot of kind of like the flat Earth. You can find forums on it everywhere. A little bit of research on it, but.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, I don't. Like I said, it's just a theory that I thought was worth bringing up since we were on the topic. I didn't.
Right. Somebody else wants to say something about it, though.
No, I don't think anybody else does.
Okay. It's fascinating. I've never heard this before, and I will love to look into that as well. That the origin, of humans is from some some planet that comes around every 2,000 years. No, I'll love to explore that.
Well, part of it falls into the theory of around every 2,000 years, it seems to be like a reset that happens on the planet. There's talk about some of the major events, life changing events happening roughly every 2,000 years, which would coincide with this planet being close enough that they could, I guess, travel easier and visit us. And it kind of resets human history in a way, or advances human history many times over, around every 2,000 years or so. And like I said, I think that's a theory for people who just can latch onto something, I guess. I mean, it's not any more crazy than a lot of theories out there, in my opinion.
Correct. Yes, I agree.
All right, so
it's just
believe it or
the
not,
first time that I've heard this one.
No, I understand. So believe it or not, we're down to about the last 20 minutes. So since we are getting into the point we're going to have to start closing things down, I know some of you had some discussion points that you were wanting to save towards the end. So who wants to go first? I'll open the floor. Anybody?
Okay, I'll go first. First of all, thank you all so much for welcoming me into this conversation. I'm so happy. And this has been incredibly awesome. Thank you for following me back on X. My feelings about the possibility of life on other planets and life, coming extraterrestrials coming to visit us has no bearing on my Christian faith. And this is why I disagree with other Christians. It's not binary, because if you are a real Christian, then you must respect that the Lord can do whatever he wants on any other planets. We as humans on Earth, we're not the only ones in the universe, and the Lord is supreme in the universe. And it's none of our business. It's none of our business what the Lord wants to do with other planets. And that's why I absolutely believe there is life on other planets. And if or when they come here, we'll deal with it. But it's none of our business. Thank you.
Sure. So I'll go next, and then I'll open the floor to anybody else. First, I tend to agree with Leslie's overall statement, and I again reference the fact that in Revelations, there are creatures described in heaven that we don't see here on Earth. So the idea that God only created us in a universe this vast seems just a little strange to me. So I do believe there is the possibility that there is life on other planets. I think in some ways, I honestly think, because again, part of the scripture says we see through a glass darkly. I think we've been here a lot longer than anybody wants to admit, because God lives outside of time. So there is no.
That's right.
I know there's a reference in the Bible that says a day in heaven is as is 1,000 years on earth. I think that was to try to make math simple for people that didn't really understand. I think we've been here for a lot longer than anybody wants to admit. And if you look at some of the things that have happened throughout our history that we're just starting to understand, I think this is probably the second or third time we may have reached this particular level of development. Because there's a theory out there that once you get to this level of development, you are 95% certain to destroy yourself. Because you're
Well,
either
I'm not down with that. I'm just saying it's none of our business.
Well, yeah, no, I understand, but I'm just giving my points of view. So as far as what I think personally, as of right now, based on the information that I have, I think the idea that there is life outside of our planet is rather plausible. I also think there's the possibility that there may be life outside of our solar system. However, I think not only has it already been here, I firmly believe that we may actually be the galactic zoo. They drive by and lock their doors and windows and wave and just keep going. Because why would anybody want to come here? If I'm being completely honest while we're having this conversation. So I don't know. I just know that it's odd to me, the timing of all these things starting to be discussed and being discussed openly after they have tried to keep them under lock and key for decades. And I do find it interesting that the timing coincides with our government losing the grasp on space travel. So I think there's there, and I don't think we're going to know exactly what's there until they're right in front of our face. But I do think there's something there. That's what I think. Steve, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I do believe that there is something out there. I don't know what it is. I always tell people that they're always like, they're coming for us. They're coming for us. I'm like, look, they probably, if there is something out there, they probably know of us, and they're thinking, we ain't gonna touch that planet. They're crazy.
We are the Circle K moms of the galaxy.
We are the most batshit crazy people on the planet. But I always tell people, I was like, you know what? If you're curious about everything outside of this planet, look at it in a logical way. Do your research, and whatever you conclude to is go with that. And if people judge you based on that, it's so be it. But it's like, if that's what you believe in, then go for it. It's if you solely believe, hey, look, there's aliens in a different planet, then for me personally, I'm not going to judge you for that. And there's a lot of footages out there that you can look up that it makes it very plausible that there's something a little fishy. And with the government, I'm very fishy with them. So I'm kind of in the middle. I'm very much like, you know what, if it looks plausible and it looks believable and there's nothing tainted with the footage, like, maybe there's something out there that we don't know. And I know in the Bible, it's very loosely talks about a lot of different things. And
That's right.
For me, I always lean towards demons. But I mean, who knows? It's maybe when I finally get to heaven, I talk to God, I'm like, all right, here's the deal, man. I'm going to be Joe Pesci with you. Do I look like a clown? Tell me what's going on.
No,
and you know what? God
please,
can be like, I'll send you to Jesus, and sweet
please,
baby Jesus is going to be like,
please, I need to say something here. You say you lean towards demons. I am with you about that because we didn't talk about this. What you're saying is any phenomenon, any supernatural phenomenon, as a Christian, we ought to reject it because it's probably demons. I am with you. I am with you on that. We didn't talk about it. I'm 1,000% with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Me, for me personally, I think it could be demons, but at this point, in a lot of things, as we get older, we start questioning things, and which is the most important thing. We should question things, and we should actually investigate things. That's the human nature of things. It shouldn't be,
Yes.
oh, CNN or MSNBC told me all this stuff, so I'm going to believe all that stuff.
Right.
We should be like, you know what? I saw this. I'm going to look into this. That's how we should decide of how we choose what to believe in.
Correct.
And I don't think we should judge someone and say like, oh, that's not true or anything. It's like, they might be right. That's what I always conclude. That's the beauty of conspiracy theories and all this stuff. It's like, you know what? You guys could be right. That's okay. And it's, in the end, it can be nerve-wracking. Some people may not have the ability to understand and be able to process all this stuff, and that's okay. It's as long as we can be like, hey, we're here to help you out. That's what I kind of view all out.
Yep. No, I thank you so much for saying that, because it's not something we had a chance to talk about. At the same time, again, it could be demons, and we're allowed to suggest that and go from that as well. Thank you so much.
I mean, technically, Bumpstock Ken did mention it. He closed out hour 1 with it. He dropped it early because he meant to save it for last, and he forgot we were doing 2 hours.
Rick, I may be retarded, as Alex Jones will say.
Stop it! Hey, look, man, Orty is not here. Orty's not here, so we don't have to say that.
Nice.
Orty, we're talking shit about you. No.
When are we not, though?
I know, right? Oh, Orty. Jesus.
All right, BZ, we've got about 10 minutes left. Any final thoughts before I start letting everybody where they can find you guys?
I've seen UAPs, UFOs, 6. Were they terrestrial? I don't know. Were they from this planet? I don't know. They met the 5 attributes that I mentioned earlier. There's a lot that we just don't know at this point, but I think, again, as I submitted before, the military is only involved in this or interested in this because it may realize on one level or another that these could be potential threats to defense, our defense, other nations' defense, that they can't counter at this point. And that's confounding. And I think that's one of the only reasons that it's come up. And of course, it's a topic that they themselves, unless they're retirees at upper management levels, they are really not interested in at this point.
I mean, like I said, I think the only reason it's starting to be mainstreamed is I think they're realizing they're about to lose their control of the funnel. Daniel, do you have any final thoughts before we start wrapping up?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it at the end of hour 1. If I respect everybody's views and their opinions, and I'm not going to say one's right or one's wrong. What's great about this panel is we can all agree to disagree on some things, but I think we all do agree that there is something out there that's happening, whether it be man-made or made by extraterrestrial beings, whether it's organic type creature or an AI type life form. If something is there, we can disagree on what it is. We can discuss what it is, but I think we all can agree that it's something is going on out there. I do believe that, like I said at the end of the early hour 1, that I think it's going to turn out to be more of a spiritual type deception. And but I do think that there are some physical things that's being caught on film that we're seeing, and it's coming to light now. And I don't think we can argue that that's not happening. I mean, we're seeing it. I think we're all in agreement there for sure that there is something happening.
Yeah, there's definitely some sort of awakening going on. All right, Leslie, why don't you tell folks where they can find you?
I am only on, I'll still call it Twitter, X, at LA Dowd, LADOWD.
All right, and she is a contributor here at KLRN Radio and what we lovingly call our disclaimer babe. Now, as I go through and allow you guys to give out your information, I'm going to remove you from the scene just so by the time we close everything out, it'll just be me. So again, you can follow along with her at LA Dowd, and she'll be back with us again sometime soon, I'm sure, because she does make recurring appearances here. And Daniel, where can folks find you?
Here on X, it's Bumpstock Ken. I'm also on KLRN Radio every other Saturday. We'll have a show this coming Saturday, 8 p.m. Central. And our show is Front Porch Forensics. And I hope y'all come join us and hang out. We'll love to have guests too. So it's true crime related, but we also dip into some current events as well. So
that is, of course, assuming he's not dead in a week.
yeah. I appreciate Sean kind of putting that in her head with the little sign there. So
no, that was her idea. She was just talking to Andrew. She was trying to talk to Andrew about it, and he never answered. So Sean was like, "I think it's a great idea."
Cool. I think I'm going to sleep on the couch tonight just to be sure. So thanks for that. But this Saturday, Front Porch Forensics, 8:00, KLRN Radio. So,
and you guys have an X account for the show too, right?
Yes, it's FP_forensics on X at FP_forensics.
All right. Wave bye.
Bye, guys.
And Steve, where can folks find you, my guy?
You can find me on X at Not Rancor Steve, or on YouTube and Rumble at Rancor Steve. I know it's a little confusing. Don't worry. I do a show every Tuesday.
Everything with you is at least a little.
Yeah. You can find me on YouTube and Rumble at Rancor Steve, where I do a show every Tuesday, and as well as KLRN Radio at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Manorama is a men's health awareness. It's a lot of fun. You'll notice some people from the station on the channel, and it's edgy. I'll say that it's edgy. That's the nicest way I can come up with it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of topics and helps guys how to be men. That's the whole point of it. Thank you very much for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Ooh, I feel like Alex Jones right now. The frogs are gonna make him gay.
Everybody used to make fun of that. Turns out he was at least partially correct on that one.
I know, right? Who knew? The guy ended up being 90% right about everything he talked about.
If he hadn't lost his mind on Sandy Hook, he probably would have never gotten in trouble. He's been right about everything else. All right, man. Tell everybody bye.
All right. See you guys. Have fun. I'll catch you guys later.
All right. And saving the best sort of for last, Mr. BZ, where can folks find you?
Well, they can find me on BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show live and direct on Tuesday and Thursday nights, late night. I am a late night conservatarian Sherpa at KRLN. You can also, it's 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central. And no, wait, I got that all wrong. Can you rewind the tape? Pretty please? Okay, it's at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern. I am your conservative Sherpa guiding you through the maelstrom of all the crap that's happening today. Politics, you name it, and all the buttery goodness therein. And I'm at shrmedia.com, at BZ's Saloon, at 2 Against Tyranny, on Rumble and the SHR Media YouTube channel. And of course, courtesy of you, thanks very kindly, KLRN.
All right. Well, folks, that's going to do it for tonight. Just a reminder, and I actually just want to give everybody a quick shout out and thank the panel, because thanks to you guys, we hit, counting everybody's numbers and even a few that I just looked at, we broke 900 in 3 hours or 2 hours. So thank you very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we're going to shut everything down for the evening. Just as a reminder, though, I will be back not tomorrow night, which is when I normally do America Off the Rails, but I'll be back doing a special Monday edition of the Rick Robinson Show, because I'm taking Thursday and Friday off So we're doing that one Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from noon to 3. Monday night, I'll be doing America Off the Rails. And then starting in December, we're going to be doing holiday-related programming in the Monday slot. So if you guys haven't caught any of our specials, make sure you come back for those. Yeah, we have a group called the KLRN Radio Players, and we actually put on radio plays. It's pretty damn awesome. Anyway, and also I think we're going to do short schedule. I know Tuesday's still on the books, so I'll be doing Manorama. I think the Cocktail Lounge has a show as well, which usually starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Wednesday night, we should have, I hope, a toxic masculinity. I haven't heard from all of the panel on that yet, but we're still planning on trying to do that. Then we probably will not have regular programming for either Thursday or Friday because I have writing to catch up with at Twitchy. So yeah, on top of all of that stuff, you can find me as a regular contributor on twitchy.com, misfitspolitics.com, theloftusparty.com, and I also produce the Loftus Party podcast, which usually drops on Tuesdays. Since we've got some time and I've said all the things I need to say other than please follow along, if you would be so inclined, to our network at KLRN Radio, our new news arm at Digital Beacon US, and myself at Rowdy Rick 73. We're going to go out the way we went out from break the last time, and that's playing an awesome song put together by our very own programming director, otherwise known as the Lost Wanderer, who does a show with us right here on KLRN, actually several shows right here with us on KLRN Radio as well. Bye, everybody.
It started in Roswell back in 47. A spark in the desert, a rumor from heaven. A farmer found debris that didn't make sense. The whispers grew louder, the cover-up immense. Then came the lights over Phoenix at night. A silent formation, mysterious flight. People stood frozen, their hearts full of wonder. Was it man-made or a sign from out yonder? Eyes to the sky, searching the unknown. The stories we tell, the seeds that are sown. Are we alone in this vast galaxy, or are they watching just out of reach? The pilots in dogfights with objects unseen. Discs in the daylight, metallic and keen. From Project Blue Book to reports in the dark. Governments scrambling to hide the spark. Crop circles and fields, abduction tales spread. Dreams of encounters that dance in our heads. From the tic-tac to radar, the sightings don't cease. A puzzle in the sky, a riddle of peace. Eyes to the sky, searching the unknown. The stories we tell, the seeds that are sown. Are we alone in this vast galaxy, or are they watching just out of reach? Ancient petroglyphs tell of strange lights. Old texts speak of gods descending in the night. Science meets fiction, the truth is unclear, but the stars hold secrets we're desperate to hear. Today the files are unsealed and revealed, yet the truth feels elusive, the fate's still concealed. The skeptics and believers, their debates ignite, while we keep our gaze fixed on the infinite night. Eyes to the sky, searching the unknown. The stories we tell, the seeds that are sown. Are we alone in this vast galaxy, or are they watching just out of reach? So we look to the heavens and whisper a plea for a sign, a connection, a cosmic decree. Through the ages we've wondered, and still we will try to uncover the truth with our eyes to the sky.
Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN.